And that moment came for Sean when he met me years ago. So Sean made the unfortunate mistake of selecting me as his best man. I've always been confused by that term. If I was really the best man, then why is Sharon marrying Sean? And so I've known Sean for a long time. Sean and I actually met in preschool, I've been told. See, I don't remember much about preschool. I have this isolated memory of throwing a Lego at a classmate that year. But otherwise, I don't remember much about preschool, so I really don't remember ever having met Sean. So I guess you could say he didn't make a very good first impression. But Sean and I grew up together, which was nice. See, it was always tough for me to compare myself to Sean. He was always so much smarter than I was. He was much more musically talented. And especially, he's a real handyman. He's much better with his hands. He's a much better craftsman than I am. Sean is the only friend who I would invite out in high school for a Saturday night. He'd say, sorry, man, I can't come out tonight. I have to, build an elevator or something. I'd say to my friends, well, Sean can't come out tonight. He's going to build another elevator. At the time, the only thing I had ever built in high school was made of Legos. Chalk it up to that early preschool training. In fact, today, the only thing I've ever built was made of Legos. So the bad news for Sean is that I've always known that he's a handyman, which means that I always call Sean anytime I need something built, adjusted, repaired, mounted, anything, really. I've moved a lot over the last few years. I've never had to hire a moving company. I always hire Sean. Of course, Sean didn't do himself any favors a few years ago when he bought himself a pickup truck. Now Sean could not only move my stuff in once it arrived at location, he could actually help with the transport. It was then that Sean became the official all-purpose friend. Yes, he could pick up my stuff at my old place, throw it in the back of his truck, commute it to my new place, take it out of the car. He and I could carry it up the stairs, move it into the apartment, move it around the room. He could mount things on the wall for me. And then later, after a long day's move, we could sit down, have a cold drink, and Sean could do my taxes. I remember one isolated event when Sean and I were moving a couch of mine. We threw the couch in the back of his pickup truck, and I still remember the conversation we had. Right, is it in there? Yeah, Sean, it's in. Is it tied down? Yeah, Sean, it's tied down. Are you sure it's secure? Yeah, it's secure. Nothing's going to fall off? Nothing's going to fall off. So I was a little bit wrong. In mid-commute, we lost a big couch cushion, essentially a huge pillow, which flew off the back of the pickup truck. God knows what the other drivers around 95 were thinking as Sean and I are running across the highway, dodging traffic in pursuit of a huge pillow. Or what the next round of drivers were thinking as Sean and I are walking up the highway together carrying a huge pillow. Well, there goes a couple of homeless, potentially gay guys. Of course, Sean and I also had a lot of fun memories. We did a lot of community service together at a youth center in Cranston. We took a road trip in 2006, a round trip across country, which was the best 3 weeks of my life. When Sean and I were in high school, we would go to Applebee's every Monday night and play High-Low Jack with a couple of our friends. And man, they must have hated us there. We would show up with a deck of cards with a couple of our other friends. Having already eaten earlier in the evening, we would sit down and each of us would order a $2 Diet Coke. The great news about the Diet Coke was that it was unlimited refills. So we'd sit there for 3 or 4 hours constantly ordering Diet Cokes. The waitress would have to keep coming back to give us more Diet Coke. At one point, one of our waitresses started to complain to us about calluses. And at the end of the evening, we say, well, thank you very much, Miss Waitress, for your 4 hours of impeccable service. The good news is we're going to tip you 20%. So here's your 40 cents. So, more serious now. I'm kind of a religious guy. Right? I'm a pretty devout Christian. and I'm a student. So if I'm going to apply myself or learn something, I'm going to study it. So as I was going to become a real Christian, I was going to really understand what Christianity meant as a student. And so as I studied Christianity, this kind of overwhelming theme kind of evolved for me. And that was this idea of unselfishness. Right? Do unto others as you would have done unto you. Put others before yourself. Make sure other people are more important to you than you are, etc. And this was always a difficult thing for me to kind of grasp because it ran counter to the way I usually found myself behaving. But Sean, I think, kind of encapsulates that very idea. And I don't think I really would have been able to understand this teaching of Christianity if it weren't for Sean. You know, he always puts others first. And so I think Sean is exactly what Christ kind of had in mind when he was describing what people ought to be. You know, very unselfish. And that was never so clear to me as it was in high school when Sean lost his dad. Right? And being a friend of his at that time, trying to provide as best support as I could, which was not easy. I mean, what do you say? Sean had a lot to complain about. But all he ever talked about was how concerned he was for his mother and his sister. He never complained about how hard it was for him. He never complained about having to live at home and commute to school while working full time. It was just what you got to do. So while me and the rest of my friends didn't have a care in the world during high school outside of passing Algebra 2, Sean's life took a very serious, very real turn. And in many ways, probably in all ways, Sean had to become a man much earlier than I did. And so I often looked to Sean for an example of not only what is a man, but what is a good man, what is a decent man. And so I've looked up to Sean for a very long time because of that. And so tonight I think is bigger than Shannon and Sean, because tonight is a celebration for me that sometimes good things do happen to good people. Because tonight something awesome is happening to awesome people. And that makes me really happy. You know, Shannon, I've known Sean for a long time, and he's always been a happy guy. He's always smiled a lot. But somehow, over the last year and a half, I've seen him smiling significantly more. And I didn't know that was possible, because he's always been so happy, but it is, and I know that's because of you. And as highly as I think of Sean, as you can tell, I think of him very highly, I still think he's very lucky to have you. I see you guys together, and I see how happy you make him. And as one of his best friends, that makes me very happy. And Sean, I don't know what else I can say. I'm just really happy that you found somebody who will care for you the way you've always cared for everybody else. So if you wouldn't mind raising your glass, which I forgot. Here's in celebration that good things do happen to good people. To the happy couple. Cheers. Cheers. Ding, ding. Go, gadget arm.